All right, here we are, gentlemen. We're live. You might see some smoke coming up here, and that don't worry about it. It's just my old fashioned. I'm smoking with my smoke pub, and that brings me to our sponsor real quick. Week 14 matchup preview, sponsored by Smoke Pub. If you're looking for the perfect holiday gift for that special man in your life, and I'm talking to you, Steve, get the Smoke Pub. All right. This little sucker right here. Look at this. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? It's beautiful. I have a cherry wood smoked old fashioned here. It's excellent. Now, speaking of things that are smoked, Justin Jefferson. Now, you might have seen the thumbnail where Jefferson does his little, gritty thing on his eyes. What he's actually doing is holding up the amount of fantasy points he's going to score, which is 6 at the most, but usually he's referencing the zeros. 0. Now, I barely broached the subject of Justin Jefferson. I don't know if you guys know this, but he's actually the number 2 Jefferson in fantasy over the last month, behind Van Jefferson. Now, here's a guy whose best games of the year were about 12 fantasy points. And he's only done that twice. He's only gone over 10, I think 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 tops this entire season. Hasn't of the receivers that haven't missed time with injury, he is the worst by a mile. Now, if you just covered your eyes and I read his fantasy point totals to you, you didn't know what name it was, you would cut this guy in a heartbeat. But Jared's not going to cut him. You know why? It's not because he's holding on to him for spite or some curse. He's lying to you guys. He's scared. He's scared to get made fun of if Jefferson turns it around. Here's the thing, Jared. You're going to get made fun of for hanging on to him. That's just what it is. It's embarrassing to this league that Justin Jefferson is rostered. Absolutely embarrassing. Jared just doesn't, and he said it himself yesterday. Oh, I just don't want to give him up for free. So if Jared could trade him for Adonai Mitchell, he would. But the fact that he'd have had to cut Jefferson into free agency to pick up Adonai Mitchell meant he couldn't do it. So what's going on here? Jared's Jewishness is getting in the way of his fantasy success once again. Now, is Justin Jefferson the worst receiver to have on your fantasy team? Yeah, he is. He's horrible. I would much rather have any receiver on my team. I'm looking at his matchup with Reese. Any receiver on Reese's team. I mean, I would even rather have Brian Thomas Jr. or Jerry Jeudy. It's that bad, guys. And by the way, my Christmas spirit is whiskey. Any of you looking to get me a special holiday gift, Caskers.com. Bringing the fire this holiday season with Caskers.com. They have some great bourbon selections. I was told by a family member that they were going to get me a bottle of Stag, which I would love. I've never had a bottle of it. I would love to have it in the collection. I was super excited. Turns out that person is a liar. And that's why they're in 9th place in our fantasy football league currently. Or maybe last place. I don't know. Where's Tony ranked anyway? Jesus. Yeah, well, he passed Joe, but, it doesn't matter who the family member is. I'm just saying I would have greatly appreciated a bottle of Stag that can be found at Caskers.com with delivery to all 50 United States. Now, looking deeper here into the Jared Reese matchup, Rams are playing the Cardinals, so okay, I guess I'm going to go bold prediction on Jared's side of things. Justin Jefferson continues to suck balls. Bold prediction. Less than 8 fantasy points, which he does pretty much every goddamn week. So I guess that's not bold enough. So let's move to someone else. How about Jordan Love in a horrible weather game in Green Bay scores less than 10 fantasy points against the defense that takes the ball away more than any other team in the NFL, who just got Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon back last week. You might have noticed they weren't throwing all over the Bears last week. Bears actually have one of the best secondaries in football now that they're healthy. Absolutely stupid, buffoonish play, but I would expect nothing less from the guy that's also still rostering Justin Jefferson. Jared's going to have one of the lowest scores in the league this week. On Reese's side of things, Puka's about due for a pop game. Deebo Samuel's a fat loser piece of shit. Probably should just go ahead and cut him. He's right in there with Justin Jefferson, but occasionally he does okay. So, I mean, he's a little better than Jefferson, but not a lot better. Zay, is Lamar ever going to turn around, dude? I don't know. Lamar doesn't look healthy to me. It's not Zay Flowers' fault, but Lamar sucks, guys. He's just terrible. Stafford to Adams, are they going to get another 1-yard touchdown? Probably 1 or 2. So who's going to, our bold prediction, Reese goes over 120 because of his Rams and obliterates Jared in this matchup. Not even going to be close. Now, I'm not going to spend as much time as on everybody else's matchups. This is really about having an intervention for Jared, the Justin Jefferson loving Vikings fan, than it was about anything else. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick glance at Kevin's team here. I'm looking at Terry McLaurin. He's back, man. He looks fantastic. I got nothing bad to say about Terry McLaurin. Think he has a good game. I'm going to go 80 yards and a touchdown. Bold prediction, Terry McLaurin spikes 2 weeks in a row. Jack's side of things, get right game for Jonathan Taylor. $152 TDs against Jacksonville. Jonathan Taylor back in the saddle. Huge game. Now, who's going to win this one? I'm going to give this one to Big Kev. I think Kev's got a dangerous team, and it's peaking at the right time. I think Kev gets this dub. Jason versus Steve. I'm going to pick out from Jason's team. I'm going to go, man. Jason's got some interesting guys here. I'm going to go Joey Burrow. Must win against Buffalo. Joe Burrow throws for 350-plus yards and at least 3 touchdowns, but probably more. Now, on Steve's side of things, lowest projected point total in the league this week, but that is, of course, because Omarion Hampton is projected at 0. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. If he does play, he's playing Philly. It's his first week back, so he's kind of useless. Let's go with, I'm going to say DeAndre Swift goes over 16 fantasy points again. Who's going to win? Jason's going to win. Sorry, Steve. But huge playoff implications in that game, by the way. Whichever one wins could be on their way to the playoffs. Whichever one loses could be on their way to the Waffle Bowl. There really is that big of a swing. Now, God damn, that's good. Now, Tony versus Joe in the Who Gives a Shit Bowl. Let's go with Tony's boy, Jahmyr Gibbs, tonight against the Cowboys. I'm going to say held to less than 60 rushing yards. That's just rushing yards. That doesn't mean he's not going to do well. He's just going to rush for less than 60 yards. The Cowboys have been steamrolling running backs since the Quinnen Williams trade. Now, I look over at Joe's team. I'm going to go Emeka Egbuka. Less than 60 receiving yards. I'm going double negative on you trash heaps. These teams are garbage. Now, who's going to win? I got Tony Jr. keeping the momentum, getting the dub this week. Now, lastly, myself versus the Patriarch in a likely Super Bowl preview. That's usually the Super Bowl in this league. Of course, this Super Bowl preview has no Christian McCaffrey. I'm looking at Josh Allen at home against Cincinnati, throws for 2 touchdowns, rushes for 2 touchdowns. I'm also going to say, give you a bonus here. You know that huge game Joe Burrow's going to have? A lot of it's going to go to Jamar Chase. Over 200 yards, 2 TDs, Jamar Chase. And I'm going to give you a third bonus because I love you guys that much. Bijan Robinson conquers the Seattle defense, the tough Seattle defense, 150 total yards in the score. Now, on the Patriarch side of things, real simple, Ashton Genty not startable against Denver. Ashton Genty, less than 60 total yards. You got to hope for a touchdown, but I don't think he gets it. So less than 6 fantasy points. That's my projection. En route to Senior getting the dub. I'm going to say somehow, some way, Senior overcomes, gets this dub. So there you go, guys. There's your matchup preview. If you get a chance, pop into the chat. Just let Jared know it's okay. You don't have to roster Justin Jefferson. It's goddamn embarrassing. Just please, if you can give us one Christmas gift, just move on from that pile of shit. And there you go.